Good morning. Let the good morning serve as my gavel since I don't have one. I feel silly knocking on the table. Good morning, everyone. For the record, my name is Tanya Fernandes Anderson, the District 7 City Councilor. I am the chair of the Boston City Council Committee on Ways and Means. And this hearing is being recorded. It is being live streamed at boston.gov/city-council-TV and broadcast on Xfinity Channel 8, RCN Channel 82, and FiOS Channel 964. The Council's budget review process will encompass a series of public hearings beginning in April and running through June. We strongly encourage residents to take a moment to engage in this process by giving testimony for the record. You can do this in several ways. Attend one of our hearings and give public testimony. We will take public testimony at the end of each departmental hearing and also at 3 hearings dedicated to public testimony. The full hearing schedule is on our website, boston.gov/city-council. Our scheduled hearings dedicated to public testimony will be tomorrow, May 2nd at 2 p.m., Tuesday, May 9th at 6 p.m., and Thursday, May 18th at 2 p.m. For virtual testimony, you can sign up using our online form on our council budget review website or by emailing the committee at ccc.wm@boston.gov. When you are called to testify, please state your name and affiliation, residence, and limit your comments to a few minutes to ensure that all comments and concerns can be heard. You can email your written testimony to the committee at ccc.wm@boston.gov. Submit a 2-minute video of your testimony through the form on our website. For more information on the City Council budget process and how to testify, please visit the City Council's budget website at boston.gov/council-budget. Today's hearing is on dockets 0760 to 0762, orders for the FY24 operating budget, including annual appropriations for departmental operations, for the school department, and for other post-employment benefits. OPEB dockets 0763, 0765 to 0766, orders for capital fund transfer appropriations, dockets 0764, 0767, 0768 to 0768, orders for the capital budget, including loan orders and lease purchase agreements, dockets 0782, message and order approving the appropriation of $4,500,000 from the 21st Century Fund, also known as the Public Education and Governmental PEG Access and Cable Related Fund, pursuant to Sections 53F, 3/4 of Chapter 44 of the General Laws. The funds may be used to support PEG access services to monitor compliance with the cable franchise agreement and for preparation of renewal of the franchise license. Our focus area for this hearing will be the FY24 budget for the Department of Innovation and Technology and the PEG Access Fund. Our panelist for today's hearing is Santiago Garces, Chief Information Officer, Sheila Lee, Director of Operations, Do It, Carrie Jordan, Chief of Staff, Do It. I am joined here by my council colleagues, and I apologize, I wasn't looking at my screen to see who came first. Councilor Murphy, thank you. Councilor President Flynn and Councilor Liz Braden. For our format, this hearing should be a short hearing. If we need more time, happy to extend conversations in the working session. I'm looking to close. Unfortunately, I have to leave today at 11. So we will narrow this, even if other councilors show up, we will narrow this to the councilors that are here now, and then close. And then if we have to continue the conversation, either we'll have a part 2 or just further our conversation in the working session. For our format, first I will go to the administration for their presentation, and then to Karishma, our budget analyst, to break down the budget. Hopefully, Karishma, asking you to just take a couple of minutes to do that today, make it brief, basically, and then on to our council colleagues for questions. If any of my council colleagues have any opening statements, please raise your Zoom hand or your hand on camera, and I'll call on to you if not. All right, Councilor Murphy, for opening statement, 30 seconds, you have the floor.
Sure, I'll take 10 seconds. Thank you for being here, and it's just great to see Kerry. I made sure I got on to see our former colleagues, so looking forward to the conversation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Murphy. Councilor Mejia, you have 30 seconds for opening statement.
Good morning, Chair. Just wanted to let you know that I'm here, and also I'll be off camera because I am still a little bit swollen, so sparing everybody the theatrics.
Thank you, Councilor Mejia. Councilor Braden, you have the floor.
Just want to thank everyone for being here. The Dockets department do incredible work supporting all of our operations across the city, and I'm really interested to hear what your vision is moving forward. I know you have some ideas, and I want to know how we can support you in that. So thank you for being here this morning. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Braden. And if anyone else has any opening statements.
Hey, Councilor Fernandez-Anderson.
Good morning.
Good morning. Just want to say thank you to you, Councilor Fernandez-Anderson, for your leadership. I also want to say thank you to the administration team that's here, and a special city council shout out to my friend Kerry, who does a tremendous job working for the residents of Boston. It's good to be with Kerry. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President Flynn. Yes, Kerry, we miss you over here in the council side. But we love all of you, Santiago and Sheila. Please don't feel left out. I'm going to go to your presentation first, and then to Karishma. I don't know who wants to start, but you have the floor.
Perfect. I'll get started. I thank you again for having us this morning. As I said, my name is Santiago Garces. I'm the Chief Information Officer for the city. I am going to share my screen now, and we do apologize for having taken Kerry away from the council, but we're very fortunate to have him with us and do it. So, all right, can everybody see my screen correctly? The presentation? Yeah, okay, perfect. So I'll try to move quickly through the presentation, and I'll lean into Kerry and Sheila to help me as we answer some of the questions. But there's three pieces of what Do It does that is so critical to the work of the city. And we've been working over the past year in synthesizing this vision for the work of the department. So the first piece is Do It provides products and services that help our workforce deliver better services to constituents. So we saw during the pandemic, so much of the city's work relied on technology to be able to connect residents to the city and the services that they need, and to connect our employees with each other. So we support the broadcasting of council meetings. We support the connection of about 400 facilities, including all of our public safety facilities, our public schools, with the internet and with connectivity. We provide email services for about 10,000 people. We provide identity and access management services for about 24,000 people that constitute the workforce of the city. So some big, critical, important services that Do It provides that, to be honest, they need to be reliable, they need to be efficient, and that a lot of our residents and our workforce come to expect to do their basic jobs. Secondly, Do It is the leadership team of technology for the city. So we see the surveillance ordinance and the gender inclusion ordinance, and we know that Do It plays an important role in the governance of technology and supporting other IT teams that exist across the city. So the police department has an IT team, the schools has an IT team, the library has an IT team, and we believe that we play a role in helping support them and make sure that we are protecting the digital rights of our constituents. Lastly, but not least, we also coordinate the work around digital equity to ensure that all of our residents can be connected and can benefit from the services that the city is providing. We know that there's still work to be done, and we shared in a previous presentation with the council some of the work that we're doing, particularly at the intersection of digital equity and affordable housing. Just to share, in the past year, we've focused on some things that we've told the council that we would be doing this year. Mostly making sure that we're being good stewards of the technology that we have, that we're providing secure services that are reliable, and a lot of focus on the core technology that the city needs. So we've made some investments in replacing our core firewalls. So these are kind of the first line of defense of the city's network, and we replaced those a couple of months ago in a project that was very well executed by our network team. And we're already starting to see some of the payoffs in this investment. We also awarded the contract to upgrade the core network, kind of the connectivity. This allows the city's core network to be operating at 100 gigabits per second. And it also enables work that we are requesting funding for to bring all of our public schools to have a 10 gigabit per second connectivity to the internet. So just as a reminder, the city receives funding from the federal government through the E-rate program, about $3 million a year to offset the cost of some of these investments. We also migrated the base system, which is the system that we use for payroll, financials, to do all the procurement in the city, to cloud hosting. And just as a way of anecdote, about a month after we migrated this core system that we lean on every day, if this is the system that does payroll for the bulk of the city, this is the system that we use to pay our vendors. About a month after we did the migration, we actually encountered some issues in the old hardware that prevented the hardware from operating for about a month. So again, just a reminder that when we invest in our technology and we're being proactive in maintaining these assets, we are ahead of the curve and we're not having to deal with disruptions. Some other things to highlight, we also implemented a new system that prevents unauthorized accounts from sending emails from boston.gov accounts. This is some new technology that is available, and again, trying to protect the residents from disinformation that might be coming from people that are pretending to be the city. And we've also done a lot of work in reducing the footprint of legacy software and hardware, eliminating Windows 7 machines from our environment, and being much more proactive in addressing security vulnerabilities. And again, making sure that everybody that works in the department and trying to bring awareness throughout the city, that we all have a responsibility around security with our technology. We had over 86% of people, workforce, participate in cybersecurity awareness training, and that's an improvement over previous years, and we continue to strive to make sure that everybody knows their responsibilities in keeping us safe. In 2024, there's some themes on the proposed investments, particularly around constituent services, but obviously, because we're Do It, and based on the conversations that we've had with you all in the council, we're very much centered around how is it that we connect our employees, our workforce, with our residents, bring better data and better visibility in how we make decisions around how is it that we're operating the assets that we have in the city and our services. So some things to highlight. The first one is We're proposing some improvements to the address management system. So this is the system of record for what are addresses in our city. The current system was built about 10 years ago, and it served the city well, but in the past few years, we've seen the necessity of having more accurate data, especially at the unit level, as we look at the census and our demographic shifts, but also to make sure that we're dispatching 911 emergency response to the right people, that we're issuing licenses and permits in a timely fashion. So this is like some of these fundamental data sets. Secondly, similarly, we're proposing improvements to our street data and how we understand what we have in the right of way, and making collection of assets that we have throughout the city, including street lights, signs. Hopefully we can extend that to do public waste bins and some other assets that are in the right of way. And based on some of the conversations that we've had with the council, we want to make sure that the placing and the maintenance and the management of these assets are done in an equitable fashion. And we know that a lot of times the people that rely the most or have the biggest impact when things are not working from the city are also the ones that don't have a lot of time to complain and that we hear the least from. Third, also working on building data governance and data standards. And we'll talk a little bit about this in the presentation, how we're working on this. Fourth, getting more proactive feedback from our residents. So we have the 3-on-1 system, and we're proposing making some investments to continue to make it reliable and a great tool to hear from our residents. But we're also proposing leveraging services, surveys, and some other tools that can help us understand how is it that our residents perceive the quality of the services they're receiving. We are also proposing making investments in training and supporting departments on how to use data to improve the services. So it is not good enough to have the data. We need to make sure that the people that are making decisions in their day-to-day about how to deliver services, that they have the right tools and they know how to use the data to be more equitable, to be more efficient, and to understand how so that we're making decisions. We continue to partner with the Equity Cabinet and other departments, but primarily with the Equity Cabinet to understand how so that we track equity, and that some of this is building into the data governance and standards. And we want to build a better, more inclusive governance structure. We want to have the stakeholders that are impacted by the technology that we have. They have a seat at the table and they understand how this is impacting them. Really quickly, I want to share with you some of the work that we've been doing and how it progresses to some other areas. The council passed in 2020 the gender inclusion ordinance, and it called for the city to be inclusive in how it calls for data. For us, one of the things that's important is to know that data, especially administrative data, is a manifestation of a process. And for us to think a little bit more holistically about the experience that the resident has, we started, as we implement the gender inclusion ordinance, started doing some work with the residents to better understand their experience in dealing with government. So we worked in some one-on-one interviews and also some focus groups, and as well as research best practices around how we encode gender and how people experience gender interacting with the city. There's some themes around privacy and safety, around equal rights, around affirming identity, around digital and physical space, and also acknowledging some of the constraints. Sometimes it's not only the city that is creating the constraints on how we track gender. It might be the Commonwealth, it might be the federal government that is requiring us to track gender in a particular way. And out of this, we're finalizing the draft of a playbook that will contain information on how to manage the process, data, and the technology standards around how we interact with gender. We're starting with the marriage licensing process, but our hope is that by the first quarter of the next fiscal year, we'll be making improvements on the hiring, payroll, and email system, which is like the core systems that impact our workforce. So some of the things that have come up out of this work, first around safety and privacy. And again, this is one of the things that we wouldn't have necessarily thought about if it wasn't for the engagement with the residents and with the community groups. They told us, avoid asking for sexual orientation, sex, or gender identity unless it is really necessary for a city service. So they told us that it is better to understand gaps in equity through surveys, but a lot of times when people are accessing a service, if they feel that there's friction and we're asking questions that make them feel vulnerable, that might put them at risk, that they prefer not to have the question be asked in the first place. Secondly, asking us to affirm their identity, to make sure that we are being careful and recognizing the difference between gender and sex and sexual orientation, and that we're using gender neutral language whenever we can, and to allow residents to identify their pronouns up front so we can address them accurately. Two, that we are very keen in understanding that sometimes when we create differences in the way the process, that we're actually creating differences in how we treat people from different sexual orientation. There's an example on how we enable parents of heterosexual couples that are unmarried to have different rights from couples of LGBTQ parents. So again, being intentional about understanding some of these implications. And then lastly, making sure that we're communicating through our physical space and our digital spaces, that we're being welcoming and that we're expecting people that have different sexual orientations and different gender backgrounds, that we're inclusive, that we're welcoming them, and that we want them to have a good experience. Just some highlights of things that I know that we've discussed with the council. This is our dashboard showing some of the trends in the demographics of the Do It employees. And as we've discussed before, trying to benchmark it against the Boston city population. And we also benchmark it against the labor force in technology in the US. So as you can see the trend, we are getting a little bit better in the past year around the diversifying and getting more women in technology. This is particularly true when you look at the comparison with the IT labor force as a whole. There's still work to be done, especially if our goal is to be representative of Boston as a city. But the good thing is we're taking advantage and being intentional in our hiring. I'll share some of the examples of things that we're doing to try to be more inclusive and diverse in our hiring. We've partnered with the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Advancement and with a group from El Centro that trains immigrants in cybersecurity skills. And a lot of times, especially for adults that are transitioning to a new career, getting that first employment opportunity is a huge barrier. And we've been partnering and getting paid internships to two amazing fellows, Lucia and Wences, to be able to come to Do It and get working experience. And we've benefited from having people that have diverse language backgrounds and that are able to bring their wealth of experience to the city and work with us. And we're hoping to see how is it that we can continue to build on this work and being intentional of making Do It a place that's attractive for people that might not feel that they have traditionally had a place in IT within the city's Do It department. We've also been intentional in investing in our current employees. We brought training in IT best practices. This is called the ITIL. And we, thanks to the work that Carrie and others in the team have done, we're very intentional in trying to bring a more diverse vendor, and we were able to find a women-owned business, get the company certified, and deliver the training to all of our Do It employees. And again, trying to build a common framework, a common vocabulary for us to talk about the work that we do, and bring everybody with a very positive certification We've also been working on being intentional and making some other changes around how we procure to be more diverse. So we've started incorporating DEI as an evaluation criteria in our RFP. So we've only had one RFP this year. Most of what we're buying has been consistent across multiple years, just renewing. But when we did our IT service management assessment, we incorporated DEI as a criteria in the evaluation, and we asked the firms if they were a minority-owned business. We asked them if they were partnering with WMD subcontractors, and how were they involving the subcontractors in a meaningful way, not just as a rubber stamp, but making sure that they're part of the creation of the deliverables that we want as we assess how we do IT across the board. And also thinking about asking them about how they incorporated diversity in other aspects of their work. We've also brought a very intentional culture change, so saying that it is on us to be proactive and look for other vendors and other firms that we traditionally have not done business with. So again, this is shown in the work that we did with Beyond 20, but just going in and saying that it is on the department to go out of our way to try to engage with people, even if we can start building some of those relationships much before there's a procurement. And we know that there's a lot of work to be done. There's some challenges. We buy very specialized technology solutions. So for instance, buying email software that can accommodate 10,000 people, there's not a lot of companies that are able to do that, but again, we'll continue to work on being creative and trying to find opportunities to involve diverse vendors in our procurement. The other piece is that we depend very heavily on the state contracts to be able to provision technology to the city. So that's another area that we'll continue to work with the Commonwealth. That's it for the bulk of the presentation. I had some other slides to talk a little bit more about the constituent services work if there's questions around it, but I will pause there and yield it back to you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Mr. Garces. I'll open the floor. We can stop sharing Mr. Garces' screen. Thank you, Ethan. Kirchner, are you ready? Awesome. You have the floor.
Hello, everyone. Because we have very little time, I'm going to just dive right into it. So this is a breakdown of Do It in terms of program recommendations. So on the right, we have the programs and the percentage that they're taking up of the Do It budget for FY24, and then it follows with the actual, it follows with the actual dollar amounts. I'm not going to go into it just because you can read it, and this will all be shared afterwards since I've shared it here, so you'll be able to see those numbers in depth after this hearing. And then this is the FY24 Do It recommended by expense type. So we have kind of current charges and obligations, personnel, contractual services. I've ranked them, and they're lined up in terms of the highest percentage to the lowest percentage of the budget for FY24. This is just the spending over time and how it's changed in terms of programmatic changes. And in the next slide, what we're going to see is how much that's changing kind of year on year. The two places that I think would be most relevant to everyone would be to look at the change from 23 to 24 in dollars and the change from 21 to 24. So you can see Do It operations has increased by 1.2 million from last year to this year. Enterprise applications has increased by 1.6 million. Digital engagement has increased by 63,000. Core infrastructure has decreased by 851,000. The way to read this chart would be that amount change on the bottom, just add essentially 3 zeros to the number that you see, and that's kind of how to read this chart. And then this is the spending by expense type over time. So you have personnel, contractual, supplies, and materials. This is all across time. On the left, we have the total amount in millions, just because it's far easier on our eyes to be able to read it in millions. You will also have access to a complete breakdown of kind of the actual numbers as well. And then this is the change, again, the same way as it was on the previous slides. We're looking at the change from 23 to 24 2024 and the change from 21 to 24, if you're thinking about most recent change and also over time. Some things of note is that contractual services have decreased by $3.3 million and current charges and obligations have increased by $4.5 million. I'm going to skip through the programmatic breakdown just because I know we don't have much time and there's a lot of programs. So this is, again, all information that you will be able to have access to. And then we're just going to go into capital projects. These are all the total capital projects that are listed in the capital budget for Do It. And this is the total project budget and the authorization for this year. There are only 4 projects that are requesting funding for this year: 311 modernization, cybersecurity and resiliency, data analytics, and unified constituent identity and access management. The following project has Do It listed as a project management department, IT disaster recovery, but it's listed under the public health capital budgets. And then this is just Do It capital project spending per Boston resident, because all of Do It's capital projects are citywide. Essentially, this is just the total project budget divided by the amount of people and amount of residents in Boston using the 2020 census data. And then this is the 21st Century Access Fund, which is the PEG revolving fund. The amount being requested for this year is $4.5 million, and this is kind of a description of what the fund is supposed to do. And this is the revolving fund spending over time. And then this is just the active external funds. It's digital equity and smart city. And in the bottom, you can see that spending over time, or kind of the amount requested over time. And then this is getting deeper into the line items. Again, we're going to go a little bit quicker through this just because I know we don't have much time, but essentially on the left, you'll see it broken down by expense type: permanent employees, emergency employees, overtime. And then you'll see FY24 recommended, so that's coming from the operating budget, and then FY24 recommended external. This is coming from external funds to the department. This is contractual services, so contracted services are at $3 million from the operating budget, and I think, about $5 million from the external funds. Again, the way to read this is whatever number you see, just add 3 zeros to it to kind of understand how much is being listed. This is supplies and materials. For here, it's $33,000 is being used on supplies and materials from the operating budget, or from the general funds. And then this is current charges and obligations. There is no external funds data here because there were no external funds being put towards current charges and obligations. So you're only going to see the general funds or departmental history information here. And then this is just equipment and other. You can see that lease purchase and miscellaneous equipment are the only 2 line items there. And that should be it. Yeah, I went a little bit quick, but I just wanted to make sure that I could be respectful of your time.
Thank you, Karishma. I appreciate it. If we need to slow it down, we can go back. Councilors, please feel free to request that if you need it. I'm going to go first to in the order of arrival. I understand that Councilor Murphy doesn't have any questions. And so I think Councilor Braden, you go first. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I really appreciate that we're doing significant investment into our software and information systems. Could you give us a little more detail on that and how they will impact our ability to deliver services? I know for the folks watching, improvements in street address data and all the workings of Do It may not be that obvious to folks. And this month, these investments will come out of capital budget. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah, that is correct. The project that is labeled as 311 improvement actually is part of a broader effort to modernize constituent services. So the expenses around the data modernization are actually under that system. The 311 system consumes the addressing data as well. And it is capital, and we requested as well some positions to continue furthering that work as part of that capital project. But as you mentioned, Councillor, the addressing data is the most fundamental piece around how we know what is there in the city. So the city is almost like, you could think about it as the most reductionist way, a collection of different addresses within the city, right? And our ability to know where those addresses are fundamental for everything, for 311, for 911, for assessing, for the census. Anytime that we, I know that as BPDA's Alvaro Lima's team was looking at the census data. They were looking at our addressing data to try to understand how many units were available in different neighborhoods and in different census tracts. So it is very fundamental. It is often not something that we would think up front about, like being very valuable, but it ties everything together and it gives us the answer of what is happening where and what neighborhood and what council district. So we're excited about bringing new life to this system that has served the city for over 10 years.
Yeah, and I appreciate that because we had we were working with the address data, you know, and trying to establish get a recount. We had a massive undercount in Alston from the census, and a lot of it was because we didn't have good address data. And then when we tried to rectify the situation, it wasn't straightforward. The other question I have was really about the GIS system, and I'm a great proponent of that because I really think it helps us understand so much more about where everything is in the neighbourhoods, and we, you know, even something like rodent control, that we can map out where the hot spots are and where we need to target resources, where our food insecurity or heat island effect, you know, we can. It's an incredible tool, but you know, I'd love to, you know, just share a little more about why that's so important, and what are we doing to invest in that, both in terms of operating budget and maybe capital investment as well this time round.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so both the investment on the address management system and on the street management system are part of our strategy to invest in GIS. So GIS stands for Geographic Information Systems for the public that might be watching this. And it's the set of systems that allow us to tie information with a location. And because, again, so much of the work that we do in the city is related to a particular location. Our GIS team helps tie those things together. The contract that do it manages, supports Office of Emergency Management. So how is it that we respond to emergencies, understanding where there's different cases and things that are evolving, around how we track flooding, how we track development in the Mayor's Office of Housing and BPDA. So it's really at the heart of how we track what's happening throughout the city. We are making some changes to the positions and to the staffing. We're actually, one of the positions that we're requesting in the as part of this budget is a data engineering position, particularly related to bringing this geospatial data to tie what we're doing with constituent services and our assets. So we continue to build. I would say for the next year, we want to build a strong foundation in these like core data sets and continue to invest in the infrastructure so that we can get better at solving some of the problems that you mentioned. As a way of information, our GIS team, actually, we had an employee that chose to leave for a career in the private sector, but while she was here, she worked with ISD in building a model to try to help us better position baiting for rodent control. And again, it's using data and analytics to help us do things a little bit better as a government.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. That's all I have, and thank you for your very comprehensive response. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Braden. Councilor Mejia, you have the floor.
Sorry. All right. So, Councilor Anderson and the administration, thank you so much. Good to see Carrie. And I'm having a little bit of a hard time talking because my mouth is swollen. So I'm going to try to get through all of my questions here. So I'm just really curious if you could just talk to us a little bit about how are technology purchases made in the city of Boston? Is there a liaison from the Department of Innovation and Technology assisting departments with their technology purchases? Basically, what I'm trying to understand here is kind of we hear from a lot of people that that there's really very little coordination between departments in terms of identifying their needs. So it would be great to know kind of like how we are coordinating everybody's efforts. And I'm curious, according to the new procurement, the procurement laws, should we consider new vendors? Are we doing that? Because sometimes we just go to the usual same suspects, and I'm just curious about what you're doing to change that. And the issue that we're running into with the administration changes comes personnel changes, particularly for those in leadership roles. And I'm just curious what happens when we make technology purchases and then leave the department with the administration changes and departments are left with software, but they don't not communicate with each other. So I'm just curious about kind of like changes of leadership and how you all struggle with that. So especially around the interdepartmental communication. And how long are technology purchases good for before we have to renew them? How often do we switch to new technology? And then I'm also curious if you could just talk to us a little bit about data breaches and how the city is protecting the data that we're collecting. And thank you for your grace and patience with me today.
No, thank you. Those are really great questions. So one of the, as you mentioned, in the current state over the past year, it is clear to me that the city has work to do around coordinating technology purchases. So right now, if you look, as I mentioned, Do It only supports some products and services. The reality is that there's a lot of other IT groups across the city, and we don't have always worked together in the most effective way. So one of the things that we're requesting funding as part of the 2024 budget is creating a new kind of position called business relationship managers. And we are requesting 5 of them. And the idea is that they would be liaisons between Do It and the different departments and cabinets to help us be more coordinated and a little bit more proactive. Because a lot of times what has been happening is we only hear about a technology request a little bit too late. People already think that they know what they want. And sometimes that means that we're having incompatible systems. So we're trying to be more proactive in understanding the needs of departments. So we are trying to address that with this business relationship managers, and it is part of this IT best practices. So it is definitely a challenge, and I would love to work with the council around how is it that we can bring better coordination there as well. Because it also goes to new vendors. Again, sometimes we don't always align in the types of technology that we're having, and that makes it a little bit harder for us to support making sure that our data is secure, that making sure that the different systems are interfacing with each other. So how long do we keep vendors, and how do we procure technology? So one of the things that we've started to build is the notion of having life cycles for our technology assets. So the same way that we think that, like your HVAC, your air conditioning has like 15 years, our technology system has an expected lifetime. So we've been starting to build, and there's some best practices around it, but for instance, a laptop has roughly about 4 years worth of lifespan. Afterwards, it starts having more issues. It's more likely to have an issue. For some of the large technology systems, saying that we will be looking about 7 years lifetime and then 3 years renewal. So, and we want to match our procurement to these like expected life cycles so that we can be intentional in when it gets time to replace it, that we're allocating the resources to replace it and not just kicking the can, keeping a system that might be not serving the city well. So we're starting to build the foundation for that. But yeah, again, it aligns with the changes in leadership and making sure that we're communicating to departments what are the processes to replace technology, involving them and understanding that technology is a core part of how they deliver their services. So we're requesting some funds for this. I think that's my time for the answer.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council Mejia. Council Morel, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to the whole Do It staff. We've heard from BPS administrators that sometimes they feel like there's initiative overload, and we've heard from BPS here in the council chambers that initiatives and investments are hardly ever evaluated or rooted in data, and where we see this play out in students is their life after BPS. The Globe has pointed out the valedictorian article, and data shows that BPS students struggle to achieve a family living wage. And I strongly believe, as everyone knows, in investing in the cradle to career data tracking system, tracking our students from pre-K to them obtaining a career. And as the state works to build out a system, what can the city do to enhance this data? And cities like Chicago and Washington, D.C. have worked to establish consortiums to drive research based on P20 data. And these consortiums bring together universities, researchers, analysts to investigate program efficacy, educational disparities, and identify areas for improvement. And with our high concentration of research institutions, including the Boston Area Research Initiative, have efforts been made to establish a consortium here in Boston and a longitudinal data tracking system?
Yeah, absolutely. So we, as you mentioned, for a longitudinal data tracking system, we think that the Commonwealth is best positioned to do so because they have data from pre-K all the way to earnings and the types of things that would signify outcomes, long-term outcomes around unemployment claims and all sorts of stuff that the city does not have data. But as you mentioned, we want to build the muscle of becoming better at evaluating the outcomes and the impact of our dollars. So we are starting to work, not specifically with BPS, but working on bringing through some of the ARP fundings with finance, a fellow to help us build the impact evaluation, a person that can help us build that capacity within the city. We've also been working very closely with BARI and with some other research institutions on how is it that we can work together to bring what our best practices or the results of program evaluation that are being done by universities into the work that we do when we're setting policy or programs. So there is work to be done in that regard, and I look forward to working with your office and with others that are interested in helping us make better decisions. But and hopefully we can again continue to grow in the relationship with BPS to figure out how to do it and support them, and how we can work together and bring a better outcomes for our students.
Yeah, I would love to work with you on that, Chief, and see if we could establish a long-term partnership with BARI or any researchers out there to make sure that this is something that's consistently happening for years. And then also, kind of piggybacking on Councilor Mejia's point, and to start a business, an entrepreneur needs, sign off from a few different departments. And I think it will be important if we can have a way for applicants to track their progress through becoming, a brick and mortar spot. So do we have anything? Well, I know we don't, but, can you talk to me about what investments are being made, to be able to have applicants track the licensure process? But also, I think it's important not only for, the applicants to be able to track it, but even like internal, like as a city and as each department, that we're able, like if ISD, the clerk, the fire department, that we're not using 5 different softwares to give approval, that we're able to go to one place and give approval and call it done. So are we able, what investments and what progress are currently being made in order to make that a reality?
Yeah, no, that is a great question, and an area that we've been in a lot of conversations, particularly with Chief Shiguni Dowu. As you mentioned, right now, there's a number of different departments, like both from the standpoint of establishing and registering a business as a WMBE business. If you are in a regulated industry like the cannabis industry, there's like another set. So we've built, we have a lot of processes and regulations that a lot of times are executed by different departments. So I would say that the approach that we've discussed with Chief Idowu is starting with some user experience research. So I think part of the challenge that we've seen is a lot of times we've been building technology the way that we want to process requests as a government, not necessarily from the perspective of what makes it easier from a business or from a constituent. So the thought was that we would start with some of these user experience research probably in the next year, like maybe even in the next 6 months, and then try to start building a strategy of how is it that we can build permitting and licensing, particularly in the business registration side of things. There's a lot of silos and a lot of disconnected parts. So building some recommendations around how so that we can make some investments in the permitting and licensing process based on that feedback from people that have started businesses, that are thinking about starting business, or that tried to start a business and that failed, felt that we did not do a particularly good job of supporting them.
And not to put any pressure on you, like, do you have a timeline on when do you think this project will be completed? Yeah,
so we've discussed a couple of pathways with Chief Idowu. My hope is that in the next, my hope would be to try to bring something to the council by the next budget season that is actionable. I think that we would want to start doing some of the user experience research in the next couple of months. There's some capacity gaps that we have.
I see the hand being raised, Chief. And Chair, are we going to have a second round of questions? Because I just have one or two more.
No, you probably should ask now. I'll allow you a couple of minutes. I mentioned in the beginning that this will only be, the hearing will only be for an hour and 15 minutes. And we can continue it in a working session, but please ask your questions back to back and allow the administration to answer.
Thank you for the grace, Madam Chair. And the City Council, everyone's pushing for more data. Do we have the software, the hardware, as a city to help us realize our goals? Do we have the proper investments that's needed to centralize data, to create a longitudinal data system, to have a one-stop shop? Do we have the software and hardware to make that a reality? And then are we looking to hire any additional staff to address the overtime issue?
Yes, so we think that the budget that we're presenting in front of you will enhance our capacity to do both host the data, manage some of these core administrative data, and visualize it as well. So we're making moves in that direction. The budget supports that. And we are working on staffing the department. There's a lot of vacancies that we've had from COVID-19 onwards, and we are working on getting the job descriptions revised, getting the positions posted, and we need help in hiring our staff and promoting the work that we do. So hopefully that brings some of the overtime. We have a lot of positions that are single-stranded, where there's a single person that is responsible for a system, and sometimes when the system is failing or needs attention after hours, we have to call on that resource, and that generates the overtime. But something that we're looking at being proactive in managing, and definitely staffing up will help with that.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Rowe. Councilor Flaherty, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Santiago, and it's good to sit with you during the budget briefing, and appreciated your efforts at our last hearing before the council around digital access, et cetera. And I just want to that point, I want to make sure that you have the resources that you need from us to make sure that we stay cutting edge. Obviously, technology changes every day, and it's important that we as a city stay on the front end of that, as well as the fact that we're asking constituents to engage us more via computer, whether it's picking up things or ordering things, et cetera. So having us be a one-stop shop so folks can access city services and permitting and licensing and what have you online, and making sure that it's readily available and that it's up to date and fast. Of course, That's, I think, the primary and most important function of your position as our chief IT guy. So that said, please let us know what resources we can help you with so that we could make sure we're effectuating those very important city services for residents and taxpayers, and as well as continuing to partner with the partners that we have out there on in that space. We referenced them at the last hearing, but making sure that they have a seat at the table, making sure that they're aware of the issues that arise so that they can go right to work with us to solve those problems, making sure that our whole city has access and coverage, et cetera. So it's more of an opine, I guess, and an offer to be helpful and to continue to partner with you in your capacity as the new chief IT guy for the city.
Absolutely. No, thank you for the words. And again, I think that the proposed budget helps us make moves in the right direction and addressing some of the systems that are in need of critical upgrades in the near future. And hopefully we build a technology environment that serves the residents and our employees well. So thank you for that.
It seems like once we get something new, try something out, there's something newer and faster and, right behind it. So just making sure that we're staying on pace with that, particularly with other municipalities and as our city competes with cities our size and bigger across the country. So particularly as we're heading into a down economy, we need to be doing things better and faster than our competitors out there. So I appreciate your attention to detail in this regard. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Council Flaherty. By raising your Zoom hand, if you have any final questions for the administration, now is the time. All right. To the administration, do you guys have any final remarks or before we close?
I'll just thank again the council for your questions and for your interest. The technology underlies so much of the way that this city operates, both on the administrative side and how we engage with our residents. And we know that it's a journey and it requires constant work, but I don't know if Carrie or Sheila have, sorry, I talk too much, but I don't know if they have some parting thoughts or questions.
I just want to say hello and great to see you all, and thanks for having us. Have a great budget season. I miss you guys.
Thanks, Gary. We miss you too. All right. Without it, if there's no further questions or comments, thank you so much to the administration for your work. Amazing presentation. Look forward to more conversation. We'll be calling you into work in session if there are any amendments that the councilors are thinking about. If not, I guess have a great evening or great afternoon, and see you soon. Thank you. And this hearing is now adjourned.